Mike Hammett for SWOSUathletics.com, joined by Coach Mark Persson of the SWOSU women's soccer team. Bulldogs opening it up August 31st when they go to Central Missouri, and a very successful season a year ago. But I know coming up just short of some of those goals, especially in talking about conference tournament, and a couple of thrilling matches in that conference tournament to come down to PKs both times. But I guess, what do you take away from last year first as you apply it to this program moving forward?
Yeah. Well, I think the girls were disappointed at the end of the last year. It was a good season, but our goals are set on getting to the national tournament every year, and so for me, seeing their reaction after the loss in that final game, I could tell that they really had their standards set, at a high level. I think the biggest thing is just to keep trying to teach them that they've got to do everything they can to prepare themselves for those opportunities, because the margin for winning and losing is so small. When you look back at the season and you think about, what could we have done a little bit more that might have helped us to not have to go to penalty shootout or something like that. And so hopefully they've focused on that in the spring and then through the summer getting ready for this year.
Obviously a lot back from a year ago when you only had the one senior last season, so a very talented group. I know 4 seniors this year, maybe makes it a little bit better for veteran leadership, yeah. But what do you have for this group? Because it seems like a very talented team just from what you bring back.
Right, yeah. Well, we've got most everybody back. Obviously, we graduated Courtney, who was a starter for us for 4 years. We were able to bring in another keeper at semester that's been with us for the spring, so that's been helpful. But the majority of the girls will return. Getting some players that were injured last year, coming back off their injuries, that'll add to the group. So we only had 6 freshmen that we're bringing in, 6 or 7 freshmen that will come in this fall, but we did have 3 transfers at semester, and then I think we get back probably 3 or 4 players that were injured all last season. So a lot of returning players, but they'll probably, we'll be adding 11, 12 new faces to the group, which is exciting.
I know last year to have Sandra and Alamado just kind of shatter all those records as quickly as they did. And then, they had help from the group around them, obviously. So how do you go about improving upon a year that was so successful in those regards? Because they're young and it seems like there's a lot of potential there too.
Right. Well, they talk about the sophomore slump, so we'll have to see. Their stats were very good. We had some weaker opponents early in the season last year that we had to fill our schedule with, which helped. They still would have broken all the records, obviously. But, it's different when you come in and nobody knows anything about you. The second year, people know who you are, they game plan for you, and so it will be a question of whether they can adapt to that extra attention that they might get from other defenses. And but, in terms of offense, it's great to have options, up front. I don't think we've ever had 1, let alone 2 players that are scoring those kinds of goals for us. So that's helpful for the players that are playing in the back and the midfield, to have that option up top that's going to help, help score goals for us.
I know even like with Olivia, but last year she missed some time for you, and then when she played, obviously good enough to make first team All GAC, get some regional honors as well. For her to be part of this group of 4 seniors, and what can she do? What can they do to help kind of push this team forward?
Right. Well, it's that senior leadership, coming in and going through the process of building the program to where we're at, where we legitimately have a chance to go to the national tournament, hopefully, or compete for those kinds of things. That's what we expect from those girls that have been in our program for a long time. And again, Olivia got a lot of recognition last year. A lot of it was because she's been here 4 years, so people know who she is. But we did lose her for the first half of the conference season last year, which made a difference for us as well. But yeah, those seniors, they should want it pretty bad after being here and coming so close last year.
So what is it this year, in particular with this group, what can push them over the top and get those goals and move forward with what you want to do with this program?
Well, I think our just defensively is kind of where we need to focus. The organization, the team commitment to defense. We're going to score goals. I think that's a given. We're going to create opportunities, but to give up 2 or 3 goals in a game is not something we want to do. On average, we want to be less than a goal a game, and so those are some of the things we're going to really focus on. Defensively, to keep us in a position where we can get over the hump.
Look at your schedule. I know you mentioned a year ago you had some weaker ones early on, and and it doesn't look that way at all this year. I mean,
Yeah.
you start at Central Missouri, you get Southwest Baptist again, UCO, West Texas, a trip to Angelo State now on the schedule. I mean,
Right.
how does this group of teams, I mean, it seems like a pretty good group to try to prepare you for what you're going to see in the GAC.
Yeah, well, it's always difficult to put together that non-conference schedule. We want to play the best teams we can possibly play. So getting Central Missouri on our schedule this past year and then being able to go back and return to them, which is something we'll continue to do, is important early in the season. Central Oklahoma is always a great team, and going back and forth with them. West Texas, we had them on our schedule last year and got rained out, and they had probably one of the best seasons they've had in a long time, and will be very good again. So again, we can't really control the opponents we have in our conference. We play those games home and away. We want to do the best job we can to play tough competition that hopefully will prepare us for the GAC, regular season, and then getting into the tournaments.
Well, practice gets going here soon. What's the goal early on? I know a lot of teams, it's always conditioning early,
Yeah.
but what else are you looking at?
Well, it all happens really quickly. We come into camp and you start Monday. Usually by Thursday or Friday you're playing your first scrimmage. So I think it's a big advantage this year to have a lot of returning players. You're not having to teach quite as much. You're just kind of maybe layering on some things, and so that's helpful. We can get going pretty quick. Conditioning, that conditioning work has to be done in the summer. When they come in, a lot of coaches will run, tests and different things like that, and we can run our first training session and know who's in shape and who's not. So we try and do conditioning as a part of what we're doing in terms of getting ready to play and on the ball kinds of conditioning. And so we'll be focusing on that, but very quickly we'll be starting to work on tactics and formations and some of the things that we need to do there.
Mark Persson, head coach of the Lady Bulldogs, opening their season at Central Missouri, coming up August 31st. Mike Hammett for SWOSUathletics.com, and talking with senior soccer player Olivia Butler. Here we go, senior soccer player. I guess that's where we start. You've been around this 3-time All-GAC selection, making the first team a year ago. A Central Region selection, second team, third team by a couple different outlets. So, senior, I guess, first of all, what's your thoughts on that and being one of those leaders for this team?
It's gone by really fast. I thought, I was a freshman, I swear, like 2 days ago. But it's crazy to see how much we've grown in the 4 years and how much we've gone through. My freshman season, we won 2 games all year, and then to go last year to make it back again to the finals. Didn't get the result we wanted, but hopefully this year we're going to go through, and we have a lot of young players, so we should be able to handle it pretty well.
Like you say, the growth of this program, just describe what that's like to go from, to be part of this. What's that mean to you to be part of this, growing from, like you say, 2 wins to last year being right there, the chance to go on to the NCAA tournament?
It's been building blocks. I think my whole senior class, the 4 of us, we came in with, I think, about 10. There's 4 left. To just build the program back up to what it was. They were back-to-back champions. We came in our freshman year. We're supposed to take it to a third. Didn't really happen, and so now we've grown into a family. We're building and kind of just leave a legacy for these girls to take it because they are so young. They have a couple years left to take it and just blow it out of the water.
What is it that can set this year's team apart? I know last year, like you say, so close. What is it that can push this team over the top?
I think as we do grow more, some players have different, they don't trust everybody at the beginning, but we've grown together, having our internationals come in, the 2 African girls, it's a trust thing, it's a cultural thing, and we've grown together as a family. We're all friends now, and I think just having that cohesive team atmosphere and whole, let's do this together, and I think we have done that over the summer. We saw it at our camp on Saturday. I think that's what we need to go on and to win.
When you talk about you bring all these cultures together, you have some from Europe on the team, you have Africa, you have South America.
Yes,
there's all of. What's the challenge of bringing everybody together like that?
Obviously, the first challenge is the language barrier because we have, from South America, from Africa. Europe's not, it's English, but and just all the different cultures and their different playing styles because it is different. We have our playing style here that we do in the States, and then everybody else plays different where they're from. But I think that as we have grown together in practices and just gotten used to each other, the cultural difference does give us an advantage because it's so many different styles of play, but we come together very well.
As far as this season, your goals, you were right there to win a conference championship a year ago in the tournament and move on. That clearly has to be one, but what do you even have for personal goals too?
personally, I just want to lead this team as best as I possibly can. I promised them last year that we wouldn't lose again, and we did. So I think that the main goal for me is just to bring the team together and get us past that to the national tournament. That's my ultimate goal, and it's just to be a good leader and let them know that they're all important.
When you work with a young team, like last year you only had one senior. This year there's only 4 seniors, and there's still a lot of younger players on this team. What's the challenge of working with a young group, even though they're very talented, but there have to be some things that make it a little bit tougher?
Mm-hmm. And like I said, the freshman group that's coming in, they're very talented. They're just young, so it's experience. It's kind of learning what to do. You don't really realize how, and especially I didn't when I came in, how tough college girls can be. So when we went and we played those teams that were bigger, they were faster, and I think that just getting used to playing quicker and getting tougher, and it's just an adjustment. And I think that as they go on and they'll get older, they've done very well, and they'll continue to get better. And I think that these freshmen coming in will learn and adjust and then continue to get better at that.
Olivia Butler, a 3-time All-GAC selection, as the SWOSU women's soccer team gets it going August 31st, and they open it up at Central Missouri.